Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering, with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have another Avatar The Last Airbender spoiler for you with Azula Cunning Usurper. So Azula is an EDH deck focused on blinking and getting extra value off of her Enter the Battlefield effect. So she is a super powerful Dimir commander that we're going to go into today. So she has Firebending 2, so she can make 2 red mana if she attacks, but when she enters, target opponent's exiling a non-token creature they control, so that's their choice. And then they exile a non-land card from their graveyard, and during your turn, you can cast the cards exiled by Azula, and you may cast them as though they had flash, and you can use mana of any type to cast those spells. So she is so scary, and Blink's got enough support as it is, and there were surprisingly a lot of creatures in mono black that have really strong Enter the Battlefield effects, and we're going to go ahead and get into this deck today. So current TCG market value is only $126 to $155 to pull this deck off, and then land count is 35 lands, with 20 of those being basics between islands and swamps, and 15 of those being non-basics. So we're going to get into this today, and we're going to start with all of the cards that are going to blink Azula or blink some of the other Enter the Battlefield guys that we have. So the blink cards that we're running a Blur, which lets you blink 1 and then you get to draw. Teferi's Time Twist is letting you blink 1 and it gets counter. So just picture Azula going off and blinking all of these times, and then getting multiple cards exiled that you can play later. Splash Portal's letting you blink. Siren's Ruse is letting you blink, and then if it's a pirate, you draw, which I don't think there's any pirates. Displace is letting you blink 2 creatures. Essence Flux is letting you blink 1 and then put a counter on it if it's a spirit. Planar Incision's letting you blink 1 and put a counter on it. Illusionist Stratagem is letting you blink 2 and draw. Ghostly Flicker's letting you blink 2, and then Hide on the Ceiling is letting you blink X, depending on how much you pay into the X, and then they come back at the next end step. So they don't come back right away, but they still blink and you still get the value. And then even more blink in the deck, so we're running a Nefali Smuggler. For 4 mana, he can blink something and return it. Thassa Deep Dwelling is letting you blink at end step. Displacer Kitten is letting you blink anytime you cast a non-creature spell. Yeshotala Rule, a really strong card from Final Fantasy. At the beginning of your end step, you get to exile something and then return it. And then if it's the first end step, you get to do that again. So you're going to get to do that twice and get 2 blinks off of 1. Conjurer's Closet's letting you blink something at end step, and then Menador Swift Savior is letting you blink as long as he deals combat damage. You get to exile 1 thing. So lots of decent blink in the deck to get Azula going pretty crazy, but we've got a ton of other cards that have Enter the Battlefield effects for value that can be just as great as targets as Azula in case they're dealing with her. So Tomb Raider is going to let you draw when it enters. Sicarian Infiltrator lets you draw as well, but you can pay 2 into the squad cost and make a bunch of them. Saturo the Infiltrator, when it or another non-token creature enters, if none of them were cast or no mana was spent, you get to draw. So with blinking, that's going to let you draw. Muldrifter lets you draw 2 when it enters. Baleful Strix has Flying and Death Touch, and when it enters, you draw. Ether Channeler has multiple abilities, one of them being draw, one of them being bouncing, and then one of them making birds. Black Cat Cunning Thief, when she enters, you get to look at the top 9 cards of someone's library, take something, and then you can cast it later. Hostage Taker gets rid of something, and then you can cast it. Hama the Bloodbender from the Avatar set, when she enters, target opponent mills 3 cards. You get to exile up to 1 non-creature, non-land card from that player's graveyard, and then for as long as you have Hama, you can cast it, and it has Waterbending X to pay for it. And then Gonti, Lord of Luxury, when it enters, you get to look at the top 4 cards of their library, take one of them and play it later. And then removal or kind of interaction enter the battlefield cards. So we've got Tai Li Chi Blocker. When she enters, she taps something and it stays tapped as long as you have Tai Li. Venser Shaper Savant bounces something. Ravenous Chupacabra destroys something. And then Urtai Resurrected can counter a spell activated ability or triggered ability, or it can just blow up a creature. And then other good enter the battlefield cards. We've got Panharmonicon and Starfield Vocalist to double up these enter the battlefield triggers. So if either of these are out, Azula's going to trigger twice, and so are all of these other cards. Archaeomancer can bring a spell back when it enters. Ramirez de Pietro Pillager says that when it enters, you lose 2 life and you get 2 treasures. And then if he happens to deal combat damage, you get to exile a card and you can play it. Cloud of Fairies and Peregrine Drake can go infinite with Ghostly Flicker. Peregrine Drake, mainly untapping 5 lands, is just going to get you infinite mana. You're going to get to keep going. Scampering Surveyor fetches you a land. Solemn Simulacrum fetches you a land. Grey Merchant of Asphodel lets you drain people life equal to your devotion to black, and then you gain that much life, and just picture that happening multiple times with this blinking. And then Intellect Devourer takes something from everybody, and then you can cast those cards. And then other good stuff in the deck, we've got a Thief of Sanity. If she connects for combat damage, you get to look at the top 3 cards and take one. Nevermaker is reverse blink, so when it leaves, you get to put a non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. So just so broken and just like messed up, like taking away their draw and just putting something there that they've already played. Ugh, messed up. And then Shrionic Resonator can copy any of these enter the battlefield abilities. Propaganda to protect us from the crackback. And then Gonti Night Minister says that when you cast a spell you don't own, you're going to get treasure. So we are taking some stuff in this deck. But then if a creature deals combat damage, you get to take something and play it later. And then Cunning Rhetoric, if they attack you, you get to exile the top card and you can play it for as long as it remains exiled. And then a decent amount of draw on the deck, not too much though. We got to read the bones. You scry 2 and then you draw 2. Knight's Whisperer lets you draw 2 and lose 2 life. Preordain's letting you scry first. Ponder's letting you look at 3 and decide which one you want. Doorport Mage, all of this blinking we're going to be doing. When they leave, you're going to draw. Super, super broken in blink decks. Brainstorm's letting you draw 3 and put 2 back. And then Phyrexian Arena's getting you draw at your upkeep. And then a decent amount of removal and control in the deck with Withering Torment to destroy a creature or enchantment. Singularity Rupture is so broken it blows up everything, but then any number of target players are going to mill half of their library. So good. Drown in the Lock is a counter spell or a creature removal. Negate and Counter Squall to counter spells. An offer you can't refuse and counter spell to counter. And then Go for the Throat and Feed the Swarm to deal with problem creatures. And then just 2 cards for our mana in the deck, because we're pretty low to the ground with a lot of these ETB guys, so we just got to get one of them going, and we're going to be drawing a ton of cards and getting enough lands to meet, at least the minimum every turn. So a Soul Rain is our rock, and then a Dark Ritual to get that 3 black mana and cast Azula even quicker. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.